The Free-Thinking Film Society is proud to present the 4th Annual Free-Thinking Film Festival in Ottawa, October 31st to November 3rd, 2013. Don't miss it.
Two ASIO officers leaving Canberra on a secret mission to break some bad news. What ASIO's discovered will have far-reaching consequences for both Australia and its allies. Such is the sensitivity of the information, it can only be delivered by a face-to-face meeting. It seems that Chinese hackers, notorious for waging a virtual cyber war, stealing secrets and spying, have hit the bullseye. And even that is secret.
My name is Jacob Mshangama. I'm a human rights lawyer. Being born and raised in safe and liberal Copenhagen, I never thought that defending free speech would ever become a central calling of mine. But the riots, attacks and deaths following the publications of cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad in a Danish newspaper deeply disturbed me. What was even worse was the meek response by governments and intellectuals in democracies. It's important to me that people are free to live happy and free lives and never be afraid of being jailed, hurt or killed for something they may say or believe in. And so what follows are my beliefs: that free speech and freedom of religion are not contradictory, but complementary. We need one to have the other. We need both to live peacefully in a society with cultural and religious diversity. In the fall of 2012, riots broke out in many Islamic countries over a crude anti-Islamic film, The Innocence of Muslims. Protests led to death and destruction and global calls for restrictions on free speech. So have protests over perceived insulting cartoons published in a Danish newspaper. Perceived denigration of Islam has become an explosive fault line where free speech collides with deeply held religious feelings. And so the question becomes, are calls for sensitivity for religious values jeopardizing one of our most fundamental freedoms? Should religious feelings take precedence over free speech?
Every day they will go to school and they'll put an American flag in front of these little babies, Muslim babies.
The end goal of everything that we're talking about is the establishment, the re-establishment of the Islamic form of governance.
عجزنا في هذه البلد معناته خلاص عجزت السيطرة.
Our job is to change the Constitution of America.
Either we do it now, or we do it after 100. But this country will become a Muslim country.
I will fight against oppression, and I will die to establish Islam. Assalamu alaikum.
In my mind, the Muslim Brotherhood is the mother of all Islamic organization of the 20th century.
Their utopia is having the law be Sharia.
Anything mentioned in the Quran, they believe in it 100%.
There's no differentiation between religion and politics because religion is politics.
They believe that Western civilization is corrupt, is evil, is decadent, and they want to dismantle it.
Severe acute respiratory syndrome swept the globe with lightning speed in 2003.
你说明明都知道是非典，就没人让说，就不告诉老百姓，非得让我们全都得趟进这个里头。我们家9个人死了4个。
They were not reporting as much as we had hoped they would. And so there was an accusation by the Director General of the World Health Organization that they weren't reporting.
China fired its health minister and the mayor of Beijing. Years later, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people still suffering from its aftermath every day.
We didn't see the kind of side effects that were seen in China where they were using high-dose steroids, the kind of bone problems that resulted, unfortunately, in hip replacements, knee replacements.
现在活过来了，就是狂热罪。
一个病包，一残疾人，谁敢接这种人？因残致贫。
当时非典完了之后，得姑姑的坏死，跟我前妻离婚以后，有一种想法什么呢？隐居到一个地方去。
SARS survivors are still fighting for justice.
有官员在跟我们谈话的时候说是国家给他定调是属于突发性自然灾害，不属于公共卫生事件，就是我们的病例是封存着的。
他们在奥运会之前做出这么一个决定来，纯属就是堵住我们的嘴。
上访时候上趟天安门嘛，基于这个就给我们挂在公安网上。
我怕我自己受不了，我怕我自己扛不住。
Conversation that we're about to have never happened.
Welcome to the Central African Republic, the magnet for men with hidden agendas. I am a respectable Danish journalist. My plan to get a suitcase full of blood diamonds. I am talking about a life as an African diplomat.
Reason to travel to a diamond-producing country in Africa is a very, very valuable piece of kit.
The Swiss Army knife of contracts.
You can travel with $10 million in cash. You don't even have to go through customs.
That sounds nice. You can really have fun in Africa. They are always very greedy. Here is the envelope of happiness. I really have a very powerful feeling now. It is a dangerous place, but I will do my best to accomplish my mission. If the government finds out, they will come after me. They pretend to be your friends, but
the best that you can hope for is that you end up dead in a ditch in Africa.
They also do that to diplomats?
Everybody.
I am in a pretty desperate situation here.
Don't be too much detailed.
Bronislaw Huberman, the great violinist, did something few artists do. He stood up to tyranny, intolerance, and racism. He stepped out in front with all of his stardom and fame to show that the threat of Nazism would not destroy the cultural achievement of the Jewish people.
He said, this is a rescue mission, this is an artistic mission, I'm going to do it, and he did it.
He was at the time one of the most famous figures in music, and he could have been promoting himself and making a lot of money.
It was unbelievable.
Luckily for my family, nobody had to go through the ordeals of concentration camps thanks to Huberman, because getting my father out not only saved his life, but also his sister's.
What he did was something that had to do with leadership as well.
Huberman had a calling, and he followed that calling, and we are grateful. We are very grateful.
What he did with this orchestra, this is our victory. He saved our culture.
They don't want you to know the truth, and I guess they're good at hiding it.
The potential for abuse is enormous because of the way the thing is set up.
Agencies are funded by how many children they have in care. And if the number of children decrease, they get less funding.
We are making money.
They get all this money from the government, from donations, and they're using it to protect themselves, not the children.
Almost every single child was on a neuroleptic.
A very clear example of empire building.
Thunder Bay is benefiting big time with our kids in care. I don't know how many mortgages they're paying.
This baby snatching system became a big business only in the last couple of decades.
Well, I think the disconnect is in the history.
Especially in the Jewish community, because people don't know that this is going on. People find it so hard to believe that a children's aid society could act maliciously. It just goes outside of what people believe.
Even though we were the adoptive parents who were supposedly going to adopt this child,
you didn't protect me. You're supposed to.
I would certainly expect that our police today respond.
In child welfare, you actually have more power than the police.
There are no other government agencies that have those types of powers.
There's an imbalance of power from the word go. Confidential is actually code for secret. We'd like to keep it a secret.
They're conducting themselves against the law.
Tell government, when are you going to wait for another boarding school before all these kids come of age and start having lawsuits with them? Is that what they're waiting for?
Be bold. Be a leader from time to time, for God's sake. Do something.
I want to tell you about one man today, a man that is very courageous, a man named Gao Zhijing. And I want to tell you about him because it is so important for me to do so.
He represents what China could be, a China which has democracy, human rights, and the rule of law.
He has kindled the light of hope for many people who are suffering under this white terror.
我说你们来看什么呢？为什么？老汉说：“我敢说话，为什么？我不知道你名字，但是只要是共产党打压的人，他一定是好人。”哗的一群老人鼓掌。
你要是爸爸来了，你想跟他说什么？如果你见到爸爸，
我一定会哭很多，因为我终于这样见到爸爸了。
一直都做梦，然后梦见我爸爸就是死掉了，然后那个时候我就特别希望看见我爸爸，然后跟我爸爸说我爱他，就是我从来都没有说过这个。
There is absolutely no conscionable reason for us not to be looked after.
The Mandarins, Canada's Kremlin here in Ottawa, is controlling the agenda.
What they want to do is wait out these veterans.
I don't want to see people dying because their country didn't serve them.
So I got this email, and it was asking me to make a film for the Sharjah Biennial in the United Arab Emirates. It's ruled by this guy, the Sheikh of Sharjah. Who is that? I didn't know there was a Sheikh of Sharjah. So it just made me really curious about the Sheikh.
Plot for a biennial will consider the production of art as a subversive act.
We were interested in treason, collaboration, and conspiracy.
So I had an idea, which was just go there without an idea and just wing it, improvise it.
They're praying, sweetie. This is a great place to get sandals.
Could I do a scene with you acting in it? Yeah?
Okay. Would you be willing to act in our movie? I think we want to film him getting hit by a car. What if you know where we get some pot?
What?
Some pot? Some pot. We don't have a musical sequence. One, two, three. Hi! Can I meet the Sheikh of Sharjah?
I can ask, but tell me why.
I think I'd like to make fun of him a little bit. And see where the line is.
That's not inappropriate.
Guys, I look good? I don't know. The Sheikh of Sharjah is like the Wizard of Oz. It just seems interesting to look behind the curtain. Art doesn't just bow. It shouldn't just be only reverent to the sacred. It should also be playful with the sacred. Stop, you have to stop. I started to sense this increasing tension between the Sharjah Art Foundation and us.
This country has its rules.
Can we speak about it? Sure.
I'm going to confront you. This is what you want for your camera, and I won't do this.
You are talking about the Sheikh of Sharjah.
If the movie is shown publicly, they'll get in trouble here.
You just can't do that.
I don't think we can screen it, Calvin.
Not only are they not going to show the film, but they are sending a cease and desist order.
Blasphemy here is beyond serious.
In a place where there's no freedom of speech, you cannot even go and say there's no freedom of speech.
I brought the idea to my fellow friends, Muslims and Christians. They said, should make a co-op of selling our coffee, but as well as spreading peace in the world. So they were also happy. So we called it Mirembe, means peace, Kaomera, which means that even our coffee must be of quality. Then we made that cooperative.
Jonathan, right. I'm Ben.
Yeah, Ben. Yes, I know.